Hey folks, welcome back to another TWiP Pro critique session. This time I'm joined by Mr. Troy Miller to step through some of the latest submissions to the TWiP Pro Photo Critique channel. This is TWiP. All right, we've got a lot of cool submissions in the TWiP Pro Photo Critique channel. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Troy Miller to step through and give hopefully some constructive criticism and use some useful feedback on these images. Troy, you went in and went above and beyond this time. Tell us what you did. What did you do this time to these images?
So as I was looking at the images and trying to think about, what do I like? What do I want to change? What do I want to convey to the maker? I thought I would just tweak them on my own, threw them into Capture One, played with them a little bit, dodging and burning, some color selection, some tweaking. And hopefully that just conveys my visual idea. Because we're all artists, we see things differently. And so since we're visual artists, I thought that's what I would do. I would tweak them. Hopefully help it.
That's good. I mean, that's good. I mean, that is helpful. A pixel is worth 1,000 words. Hey.
Yeah.
I like that. Huh? I gotta write that down in mine. All right. Well, without further delay, let's jump in. This first image, you stuck this one in there. What's going on here? You want me to dissect this one, or you just want to tell us about it?
I do. I'm not a compositor, so this is an image that I've sort of wanted to do for a long time. This is Donnie and McCall. I did their wedding several years ago. We took them out to this cool location, and I always wanted to add more and add more. And this is where I'm at now. It's not perfect. I still see things wrong with it, but I thought, you know what a perfect platform to throw it in there and let people chew on it, especially since I tend to chew on other people's images a little bit.
Yes, from time to time.
There,
Yep.
Put your work out there.
Yeah, I like this. This is moody. It's very moody. And so this is what's going on in there. So I'm looking. What's flowing off of his back? Oh, look at that. That's a crow. I didn't even see that. That is a crow. I literally just now, until I focused my eyes, didn't see that was a crow flying off of him, leaving kind of a misty effect. That's killer, man. That's cool. How'd you do that?
Weird. Yeah, this is how I dream. This is what I dream. Stuff like this.
Oh, yeah, the landscape inside of Troy Miller's mind.
Yeah.
So is that real smoke behind him? Is that real smoke, or is that some sort of fabric?
There's really the only thing that's real in here is them in the trees.
Everything else is put in? Nice.
Yeah, everything else is put in.
And what were you thinking when you put this together? What was the the feel you were going for? Kind of surreal, gothic, or what's the story you're telling here?
Dark, post-apocalyptic. That's like my favorite era of any game or movie. But really just sort of this sense of, maybe he's leaving and then the smoke is him disintegrating and going away. And then, the crow is just sort of the symbolism of loss or sadness or, that type of dark, whatever you want to pour into it. But that's kind of how we see it. The barrenness of the landscape, the factories in the background,
Yeah, I like it. It's interesting. You say you like the post-apocalyptic genre. I was looking through. I like science fiction as well. So I'm looking at science fiction movies to watch on Netflix the other day, and I'm going through everything, and I'm like, I can't find any other than Star Trek or stuff like that. I can't find any content that's not negative. It doesn't paint aliens are going to come down and kill us. Zombies are going to kill us. We've destroyed the planet and now we're killing each other. There's nothing positive. I'm like, come on, can we have some sort of positive outlook or fictional take on the future? No, we can't.
Yeah, no. No.
But this is cool. All right, so did you give this a title? What's it titled? This is Leaving, huh?
Leaving, yeah.
So you know what I see when I look at this now? Maybe this is like a Rorschach test, is telling you something about my personality. But I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, he's kissing this girl, and now his soul is leaving him now. It's flying away.
Maybe she's a vampire. Maybe that's
or maybe he's one. Yeah, I like it. That's cool. Compositing, man.
Pour into it whatever you want. Yeah, still working on it.
Hey, aren't we all? Aren't we all? All right, so let's move on. Oh, what am I doing? I am pushing the wrong button here. Okay, let's move on to the next image. This one is from member Brian Fisher, and Brian has not titled this one, so this one's untitled. I'll bring that up now. Here we go. What do you think of this one?
I dig it. I think I like macro. I like close up. I like that kind of thing. And then I think flowers are always fun to photograph. This one, I like I said, I really like the detail that's going on in there. Where I struggled with this was the what would we call it? The bloom in the lower right hand corner. The unopened flower is very prominent. It's in focus. It's sharp. So it's bright and it's standing out. So that was just too much for me. So I thought, we needed to edit that and bring that down. So
I'll bring up I'll bring up your edit now. So there you go. There's your edit. So you looks like you knocked the whole background down a couple stops.
Yeah. So it's hard to do this on a JPEG because it's easier to do it if you have the raw. You can much more accurate. But basically all I did is I just sort of dodged all the way around the outside, brought the tone down a little bit. And try to remove some of those distracting elements. I love the flower. I love the color, the purple stamen that's in there, and the blue of the flower is really cool contrast. I just think the background is distracting.
Yeah, and I'll toggle back to the original. Let's go find the original real quick. Okay, so here's the original, and then here is the edit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it pops out more. Your edit says, "Look here." Right, this is the subject. This is the subject area. Yeah, and Brian has been submitting a lot of macro images lately. Looks like he's really getting into that genre, huh?
Macro is cool. There's a whole small world that we often just walk by.
Yeah,
and I mean I love macro as well. So it's neat, and you can do it in such a small place. You don't have to go have a lot of gear, go run around, right? Like you could literally go in your backyard. There's something there. Yeah.
There's beauty in the details, right? And it's everywhere. I agree. We tend to think, oh, I need a landscape or something grandiose in order to make a good image. When in reality, you could probably make one in your bathroom or backyard or kitchen or whatever, right?
That's right.
All right. So this next one is interesting. This is a interesting little character here. This is from Gordon Burnett, member. He calls this one Veiled Chameleon.
Oh, wow.
What do you think of this? Is number 3.
I dig it. No, this is really good. I've always wanted to photograph like lizards and reptiles up close because then you make them look big like dinosaurs and stuff.
And you get to see all the patterns on them. It always blows me away the intricate patterns that they have in their skin. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Now this one, very much like the previous one, I felt that the focus should have been more on the mask of the face, the eyes. Whether you're photographing an animal or a person, they have a face, right? And they have an eye, and that's the thing that maybe we should consider focusing on, just like you would on a person. So in this one, what I did is I just vignetted and darkened and burned down the back of the eye, so sort of like camera right behind the eye, and brought the eye and the face, the mask of the chameleon up a little bit. And I think it just draws the attention probably more where the maker would want you to look. I don't think the maker really wants us to look at the back of their head. I think it tells a better story if we look at their face. Yeah,
and we even in creatures that aren't human like this one, we look at the eyes first, right? We
do. Yeah, we're drawn to the eyes. Yeah. And then there's so much texture in this image that I also sharpened it a little bit, and I brought up the clarity, and the structure helped a lot. And I'm sure on the raw file you could bring up so much more than what I could bring out in a JPEG.
Yeah, and I've got your edit up. I'm gonna go back to the original. There it is. Yeah, and then there's the pop. Yeah, look at that. Very cool. All right, look at you making changes in there. All right, we're cooking with gas now. We're going to move on to the next one. This is from member Mark Harris, and he's titled this one Brianna Morel. I'm assuming that's her name. Here we go. Here she is up on the screen. Brianna Morel, redhead.
Yeah. Such a cool concept. The long flowing red hair and the pose, and there's a story in here that I kind of want to know, like like the model and how you got to this point and who decided to sit on the couch. And, you know, I always want to know what's going on in the shot. Like, why did the photographer do this? I always think that's such a great story, and I'd love to know that. So what I figured was I looked at this and went, well, the hair is the center of attention in here. Like her body and her pose is dramatic. So what I did is I actually did a lot of work on this one. I toned it for one, made it a little bit more monochromatic, brought the saturation down on the rest of the background. And I took all the highlights around the image that are on the couch and on the background and pulled them down, especially on the back of her shoulder, because that light is really bright there. And I think if you go into, say, an art gallery, for example, if you go to a gallery and you look at the paintings on the wall, you think about every highlight, every shadow, every detail was put there on purpose. The painter thought about it. So in this image, does Mark really want me to look at the back of her neck and her shoulder, or the couch, or the wall? I don't think so. I'm going to guess it's the hair and the pose of the body being dramatic.
Right.
So I try to bring all those things down to what my vision is, obviously not Mark's, because I don't know, but my vision was to be more dramatic, make the hair pop, darken all those other areas.
I like that. I'm looking at yours now. I'm going to toggle it back to the other one. Yeah, yours. Yeah, your hair. The hair definitely pops out. It becomes almost platinum, kind of metallic in there, which is I don't know. I mean, I want to see what the model really looks like. I would assume that Mark's original shot is more closer to reality, obviously, and then you come to yours, and it's definitely more artistic, and it pops out. And my eye is going directly to her hair, and I see what you're saying about the shoulder, and kind of de-emphasizing that part of it, right?
Yeah, and I did realize I pushed it past what would be considered reality, skin tone, and
you're clearly
and
artistic
stuff.
now. Yeah,
but I think this image works for that, which is great. Maybe there's a little bit of that post-apocalyptic flavor in there.
See, there it is again.
I tried not to go black and white this time, though.
Hey, be careful what you ask for with this post-apocalyptic stuff, man.
I dig it, though. No,
you'll dig it till you have to live it. Right?
I played enough Xbox, dude. I'm ready.
You're Is that how it works? Okay.
Oh, that's how it works.
Okay.
Go play Uncharted.
Oh, God. God.
You're ready. You're ready to go.
I feel like playing a game today. Maybe I'll do that. All right. So the next image up is from Howard, and he calls this one Trail at Black Run Preserve. Here we go. There you go. What do you think of this one?
I love paths. I love this stuff. If I was walking through here, I would be shooting this for sure. But I would have shot it in infrared because those pine trees would have gone insanely cool.
Oh, yeah. I still need to do that. I still need to get an infrared modification on one of the camera bodies.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
It's there's not a lot to do this image. So what I did was I gave it a little bit of a tone. I did a little split toning with it. So I put a little warm in the highlights and blue in the shadows. It's totally preferential. It really doesn't, add anything. And I did burn down some of the brush on the left and the right because it looked a little flat to me. So trying to keep that dark contrasty tone going. Mm-hmm. But these are the kind of images that I love to look at because it's like, I want to go there. Mm-hmm. The leading line of the path is really cool. I wish there was something at the end of the path.
I know you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say, I wish there was a couple holding hands walking away from the camera in the upper right hand, lower third.
Well, that's what I would do with my couples. I see people in all these. That's right. I do. I see people in all my shots.
Yeah. You see people in your shots, and Renee Robbins sees backgrounds and components for later compositing in different shots.
Right. Yeah, I could see a couple in there dipping and kissing, and there'd be backlit, which would be really cool. It looks like.
Yeah. So again with the processing that you did on this, you say, did you split tone it or what? How did you get to this sort of I'm toggling back and forth, and the original image from Howard is clearly just black and white. And when I look at yours, it has kind of a greenish, almost cyan, I guess, wash over it.
Yeah, so it's split toning. So you can do this in Lightroom. You can do this in Capture One or even like Luminar. A lot of the raw editors have the ability to split tone on black and white. And basically, what it is you pick a color for the highlights and then the saturation that that gets, and then you pick a color for the shadows and the saturation that that gets. And I really like the mix of warm highlights and cold shadows. To me, it just looks really cool because when you have a lot of shadow, to me, it makes it feel a little bit more ominous. Yeah. And they were kind of going into that direction again. And I like that cool tone. And then the sunlight coming through usually feels a little bit warmer or brighter. No other reason other than I do that. That's just one of the adjustments that I like. I even have presets for it, so I like to do those. Nice,
very cool. All right. Thank you, Howard, for that submission. The next one is from member Kyle Nishioka. He calls this one Neon Dreams.
He photographs like some of the craziest stuff. We need to go to Hawaii and hang out with him. So
I know. I don't know if I keep up with Kyle out there.
I don't know, Kyle. You got to let us know your itinerary. Maybe we can make plans.
Yeah.
This one is just really, really cool. It reminded me of Tron. So sort of like a Tron nightclub. Like this is where Tron would go after he's done saving, all of his friends. I really don't have a whole lot that I can add to this other than, shooting it, watching leading lines like the leg and the green and things like that. But I see this as more of a photojournalistic kind of shot. So, the story is there.
Yeah.
The only thing that I did was I just felt that the shadows could have been a lot darker, really dramatic, take it to black.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Okay.
And I did notice that sometimes uploading images into TWiP Pro can change the tonal range a little bit. So understanding that maybe it already has that, but I think this image could really lend itself to really pushing those contrast ranges, right? And just push those blacks down.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. When I saw this image, I guess my brain is kind of in a virtual reality place. Yours is in post-apocalyptic. Mine is in virtual reality. And because I just saw Ready Player One, and I look at this and I think, oh, this could be a world within Ready Player One where everybody kind of looks like this neon under black light look, So it's really cool. The only thing that bothers me, and bother is a strong word, but the only thing that I would change about this image is that green star on the left there. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it's a little distracting because it's like just the only thing that's hanging out right there, and it's drawing me away from the subjects of the image. But other than that, I think it's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, and anytime you're shooting anything that has a lot of red in it, a lot of red light, it's always going to overexpose because currently all of the currently all of the digital cameras are very sensitive to the red light spectrum. So if there's going to be a lot of red light in there, you might want to underexpose that shot a little bit and just to see. And there may be detail in there in the raw, but it's just good to know.
Very cool. All right. Thank you, Kyle Nishioka, for your submission. Always looking forward to see the stuff that you submit, man, because he's always got something new. He and Brian, everybody, I guess, but I love to see people stretch and put different things than what we're expecting from them in there. So really cool.
Right.
The next shot up is from Tim Engel. We all know and love Mr. Tim Engel, and he hasn't titled this one, so untitled. Here you go. What do you think?
Right out of the gate, this image is beautiful. So I feel I don't really have even a lot to critique on it. I mean, it's like it's a fantastically done image. The eyes are sharp. If this was entered in one of our competitions, and I know that those are different, but this would be a high merited image. I mean, this would be like in the 85s or higher. I mean, this is a fantastically well executed professional style. So kudos to Tim. I mean, I know that's what he does. So he always knocks it out of the park.
Yes,
I love her pose, the tilted shoulders. Man, that's so good. The little facial expression, almost a pucker, but not quite. That might be her normal expression, or maybe he caught her at the right time. Eyes are open. Oh, it's just great.
Yeah, her eyes are gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And her jawline, she's got the kind of squared off jaw going on with the cheekbones. So yeah, really cool. So what'd you do to this?
So the first thing that I did in this is I flipped it upside down. So I don't know if you can show that image.
Yeah, I have that one. Okay, so there you go. It's upside down.
So being upside down, your eyes aren't drawn to the face necessarily. Your eyes are drawn to the brightest spot in the image, which is mostly her face. But I just felt that it wasn't strong enough for me. So if I was going to do something to this image, if I was like, okay, Troy, you have to edit it, what would I do? So I flip it upside down. I see where my eyes are drawn. And then what I did is I did a little bit of Star Trek lighting on her face, a little dodging, right? So just to bring a little bit more focus on the mask of her.
Did you do that while she was upside down?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I flipped it back. Yeah. Okay. What I did is flipping it upside down helped me look at the tones between her face and her chest were too close.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Dodge. I wanted to bring her face out more. That's where I was going.
Okay.
And this may be a little extreme, but because on the JPEG, I don't have the tonal range to work with. So I thought, well, we'll just do what we can. So I just did a radio vignette around her eyes and most of her face, darkened the rest of that. And then I went in and I pumped up her eyes. And a little trick that you can do on the eyes, and it's really easy to do in pretty much any software, is to just bring a little bit of brightness in the bottom half below the iris. Or below the pupil, I'm sorry, in the iris. So just like a little half, it's hard to describe, like a little half circle under the pupil, right? And what that does is just brightens up the bottom side of the eye and just wakes it up a little bit.
Now, did you do what software did you do that in?
Capture One.
In Capture One, yeah. In Lightroom, do you ever, Lightroom in the what is it, the brush edit tool, I forget what the name of it is, but there's an iris enhance setting in there where it basically just moves the sliders to add a little clarity, up the exposure a little bit, maybe add a little more saturation. So you load that into your brush and then paint that on the iris, and it pops out. Then you have the flexibility of going back to those dials and dialing it in, especially if I do that on a portrait like this, I'll do the eyes at the same time with the same control point, and then go back in and just tweak the levers so that I can, because basically it's affecting both eyes simultaneously. Have you ever done that, or is it? I haven't done it in Capture One. Is it more powerful in Capture One, or what do you think?
It's essentially basically the same in both, except for Capture One, you can get a lot more critical. So like in Capture One, I can select just the color in her eyes and create a mask from that. And then I can have much more subtle tweaks to the eye, or I can select just the color in her lips and create a mask. So I could sharpen them, I could soften them, I could change the color, I could, bring up the saturation or the tone in her lips without affecting her skin, which in Lightroom is much harder to do. You can go in and brush it in, but it still doesn't give you the level of control that you have in Capture One. Capture One is more like a scalpel. Yeah. And, Lightroom is more like Crocodile Dundee's, big knife.
Okay. You call that a knife? That's not a knife. Yeah. I love it. No offense to Aussies out there.
Yeah. Well, except for one. I know one, and we can offend him if we like.
Okay. Well, for the one that can accept the offense, it's all right.
Yeah. No. And to be fair, to Tim, this is a fantastic image, and there's not a lot to be done to this, so give us something we can work with, Tim.
I know. Come on, man. Submitting all this good stuff. So once again, this is the original, and this is with your edits, and then this is the upside down version that you use for guidance.
And I just want to add as well, for anybody who is maybe learning studio lighting, Tim has handled there is a hair light or an edge light off to her back right shoulder, our camera left. And those kind of things take a lot of forethought to put those in to create shape and depth in the image and things. And that's something that's exceptionally well done. And if you don't do that now, or you haven't learned how to do that, that's something to keep your eye out, because you'll notice in a lot more of the high end imagery, there's a lot more than just one light. It looks like there's more.
Yeah, yeah. Tim will have to chime in TWiP PRO and let us know what he did here. But yeah, without that back or side or rim light on her black hair against the black background, you could have easily just lost her entire head into the background without that separation light. So good deal. Tim Engel tends to know a thing or two about pictures, right? Speaking of which, the last image we have is from Tim Engel, and he's titled this one Storm. See, he's just not playing fair. He is just not playing fair.
I didn't get my hands on this one because I thought you guys maybe already critiqued it. So
no, we didn't. We didn't critique
I didn't pull it.
What would you have done? What would you have done to this one? Let me guess what you would have done. Can I guess? Can I try to guess? I'm thinking you would have. Oh, it looks good just like it is. I know what Tim was doing. I think I know what he was doing with this one, and it looks great. Very well executed. You may have popped that dress a little more, I think. I don't know. Am I right? Would you have made that dress a little more vivid and brought her skin tone up to separate her from the background a little more?
Maybe I would have tried.
Well, with Capture One that you rave on, you could just drop a pin on the dress and raise it up, right?
Yeah, I do. But you know what I think I would have done with this, and this is something you can do in Lightroom really cool, is I would have created more of a light beam coming into her face. So I would have probably vignetted, doing linear vignettes around her so that our camera left, it looks like the light was maybe coming off of that side a little bit more. Give me some direction of light, that kind of thing. Because that side of her face is lit. The back of her arm looks dark. I would probably have done something like that. In this image, though, I am struggling a little bit with why, like, her face and her chest is a lighter skin tone, but her arms and her legs look really gray.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's an effect that got brushed in or taken out, or
I'm zooming in.
I don't know. Cool pose, though. I mean, I like her hand.
I want to know how he did this, because she's got some air there. Is she just jumping to get up that high, or is she really being pulled away by the air? No. And what city is this? I'm gonna guess that maybe this is New York. This kind of feels like New York. I know Tim was in New York recently, so I'm thinking this may be New York.
Yeah, it could be. I would say, in a pose like this, because I have my brides jump and run and play. You always do like the first couple shots to make sure you got it, and then you nitpick a little bit. And if I had the choice, I would have her jump and put a little bend in that left arm, so that it isn't just straight out. I'm okay with the right one. It would be better if it had maybe a tiny, but the left one, I'd like to see a little bend in that left arm.
Nice.
That would really be nice. But I love the
line. I like I kind of like the tension in there, and I like the line. It's almost ballet like, right? Because you have the line from it's almost a straight line from the handle of the umbrella through her arm, through her body, all the way down to her left leg and ending in her toe, right? So it's kind of like a string is pulling her up. So.
Yeah, and I love the reflection on the ground. I mean, seeing her in the water and stuff is really cool.
Yeah, good job, Tim Engel. Once again, not playing fair, right? So good job, TWiP PRO members. You guys are crushing it in there. Thank you for all the submissions. Any final thoughts there, Troy Miller?
No, you guys keep doing what you're doing. Experiment, play, try something new. Keep submitting those images. Yeah,
and keep them coming in.
Good stuff.
You know what we need to do? You suggested this early on. I think we're at the point now where we need to start putting some parameters around the TWiP PRO critique and some incentives, like we discussed. Right? I think we should start doing that. I think we should start the contest aspect of the TWiP PRO critiques and make it a little. Speaking in Troy Miller post-apocalyptic terms, Death Race 2000, Let's make the TWiP Pro critiques like Death Race 2000. You remember that show? Please tell me you remember that. Okay. All right. Phew. I was gonna say.
You can do the critiques to help get everybody kind of, zoned in a little bit, but then you do the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And all those images that we've critiqued and all those conversations that we've had, people can go back and decide like, ooh, I either like it, I don't like it, but take that image to its height and enter those images into a competition.
Love it. Love it. Very cool. All right. Stay tuned for that, folks. We're going to do that in the coming weeks. We'll have to figure out exactly how to do it. You know how to do this already. You do this stuff with IEPPV all the time, right? So
yeah,
I'm just going to follow your lead and then take all the credit. I mean, did I say that out loud? I got to work on that inner monologue thing, man.
Yeah, you do.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, cool, man. Well, thank you for doing this one. This is I every time we do these I get excited because it's inspirational. I love to see people growing as photographers, trying different things and seeing what different kinds of photographers doing stuff. We have like photographers that are across the board that are doing stuff like Kyle experimenting with light painting and neon, and then we've got macro photography in there. We've got you with your compositing. You got high-end fashion and portrait stuff with Tim Engel. So it's across the board. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. No, it's always very cool. It's always very cool to see.
All right, folks. So if you are a TWiP Pro member, remember, continue to submit your images into the hashtag photo critique channel within the community. If you're not a TWiP Pro member, head over to TWiPPro.com and sign up. We got a free trial for 2 weeks. You can jump in there and join the fray, put your toe in the water, and see how you like it. All right. I think that's it for this episode, guys. Troy, we'll see you next time. I'll let you get back to your wedding work. You probably got a little bit ahead of you, right?
I do. Yeah, I got a little bit of editing to do.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, buddy. Take care.
This is TWiP.